Thank you. Good morning, Chairman and Ranking Member Franken. Police in Chicago, as in many other metropolitan cities, have been receiving an increasing number of calls for service to respond to situations involving individuals with mental illness and co-occurring mental health and substance abuse disorders. The Chicago Police Department responds to a minimum of 63 pre-identified mental health-related calls per day, over 23,000 per year. Such calls brings police in contact with veterans impacted by post-traumatic stress disorder and/or traumatic brain injury, who face their own unique challenges in seeking treatment services for support. Youth in crisis desperately need de-escalation support and access to age-appropriate mental health and substance abuse services. All too often, these individuals lack the mental health care providers and non-treatment resources they need to lead healthy, law-abiding life and to avoid becoming needlessly and inappropriately ensnared in the political and criminal justice systems. Thousands of calls for service are responded to annually by one of 1,800 Chicago patrol officers who have completed the 40-hour Chicago Police Department Crisis Intervention Training Program. These types of calls responded to by officers who have not been CIT trained. If we are serious about jail diversion, crisis situation, law enforcement, mental health providers must work together to identify, analyze, understand, and solve gaps and weaknesses in the existing police-involved crisis intervention system. The Chicago Police Department and its award-winning CIT program and a network of strong mental health partners are uniquely qualified to do just that. Improve the outcomes in Chicago, and demonstrate strategies worth replication throughout the nation. Therefore, it is critical that mental health treatment services that officers direct people to are responsive and effective. This can only happen if funding is available for these services to continue. We cannot arrest our way out of this problem, nor can we put all of our energy into CIT as the saving grace for this crisis. A broad range of services and psychological services must be accessible. Without these services or inadequate services, officers, CIT training or not, eventually will become disillusioned and may stop making efforts to link people to services. Without properly funding services and resources, the volume of calls involving persons with mental illness will only increase, which means that the needs of the citizens are not being met effectively or humanely, resulting in an increase of arrests to persons with mental illness and an increase of injuries to both officers and citizens. In Chicago, 50% of its community mental health centers closed in 2012, and 1 of 3 state facilities serving Chicago closed. That created a huge impact on public access, especially those with low income, to mental health services. While the closure of community mental health centers may play one role in the steadily increasing number of mental health-related calls for police service, it is not the only contributing factor. In Chicago, for instance, the overwhelming majority of people with serious mental illness brought to hospitals by CPD officers are of low income, uninsured, on Medicaid, and unable to obtain their own access to needed services. This, unfortunately, is the reality, and currently the 3 largest providers of mental health services are jails in LA County, New York, and Cook County Jail in Chicago. The Chicago Police Department recognizes that CIT programs are an effective tool. Data collected from federally funded sources of the CIT program found that compared to their non-CIT trained peers, CIT trained Chicago police officers directed mental health service 18% more often. CIT trained officers reported feeling better prepared to respond without needing to resort to the use of force, and less force was used when the subject agitation increased. No one chooses to be mentally ill. In order for CIT, CPD, CIT, or any CIT programs to be successful, it must maintain strong partnerships. The Chicago Police Department's CIT program is more than just training. It is a partnership with mental health service providers, advocacy organizations, individuals, and family members living with mental illness. Thank you.